Hello, everyone. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Ken. Ken is from Los Angeles in the USA. So let's see what Ken has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, Ken. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, tell me, how's your day going so far?
Well, it's the day before Thanksgiving. I had no intentions of cooking this year, although I like to cook. And I found myself, my dog is making a crazy noise. Hold on. So I found myself, I was going to a friend's house. I had a crazy story happen where I know this isn't what you asked me at all, but this is what happens. So a friend of mine, he didn't want to be home alone for Thanksgiving, but he didn't want to go to strangers' house either. So he asked me if I would make Thanksgiving, which is like asking somebody if they build you a car or something. It's like it's a big ask, you know. So I'm making Thanksgiving now for my buddy. And I'm like, well, if I'm making Thanksgiving, I should invite these other people. So I've invited a bunch of people and they're all flaking at the last minute. But I already have all the food. So so today I have a lot of cooking to do. So I'm scrambling to figure out who's coming, who's not coming. The food's already here, so I have to make it anyway. So I'm having a rather kind of unpredictable, unexpected day to day.
Wow.
That's the
Actually,
answer.
I made a note here regarding sorry, I made a note here regarding Thanksgiving. So tell me, for you, what's the let's say the best memory that you have of occasion of Thanksgiving that you celebrate that for you always gonna be remarkable.
The thing about Thanksgiving for me, um, it's my favorite holiday of the year. So it's not like one Thanksgiving is a better Thanksgiving than the next, you know, because I take the holiday quite seriously in the sense that it's all about being thankful for everything in your life, meaning the people, your experiences, all of it. So to be more thankful for one year than another wouldn't be, you know what I mean? So it's not
Yeah,
that. So I'm just every year I'm really grateful that I'm in a situation that I'm healthy enough, that I'm financially secure enough, all the things you need to be able to thank the people in my life. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I did have a crazy memorable Thanksgiving, but it's not necessarily my favorite. Um, where I had 30, about 3 dozen, I think 36 people come to my house for Thanksgiving one night. And in order to accommodate that many people all at one table and to have a sit down proper dinner, I had to move all the furniture. Well, you'd have to be here to understand, but I had to move all the furniture from in 3 rooms of the house and create this one long table, right? And
Wow.
so, but it was the people that came because I had a family from Korea who only the husband, my friend, he speaks English. He has 3 little kids. They kind of speak a little English. The wife spoke no English at all. So I had them. I had a whole group of people in from I'm trying to think of where they're from. They might be Lebanese, so they were here from Lebanon. So there was a whole family there who spoke very little English. I had a couple
Right.
friends in from England. I have a very beautiful black trans friend. She was here. There's a whole group of people who had nothing to do with each other, right? And didn't speak the same language, but somehow we were able to talk about just being thankful. And it was amazing how much love was in this room, even though most of them couldn't really speak to each other, you know,
Wow.
and that for me is the holiday, so that was a particularly memorable one. I had people fly in from literally all over the globe, many of whom had never had a Thanksgiving or experienced Thanksgiving. So I felt this need just do this kind of ridiculous over the top dinner. I cooked for literally for 3 days before
Wow,
before in order to be able to do it. Yeah.
amazing. Okay, Ken.
Ask
So tell,
ask
yeah,
this question. Right. Ask me what the best thing is that I served, the most unexpected thing that I served for Thanksgiving. Ask me
what
that question.
what was that?
Oh, funny you should ask. So it's the first thing I serve is pumpkin bacon blue cheese soup. So it
Oh,
really sets off the night. Yeah.
amazing. Ken,
Yeah.
tell me where you're from.
I live in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
but I was born on the East Coast. I was born in a town outside of Boston, and then I've
Mhm.
traveled. I've lived in a lot of places since then.
Wow. And why Los Angeles?
Um, hmm. I was flying back and forth between New York and LA for a long time, and I have a big 100-pound dog, and he really loved living out here. I had to make a choice about, if I wanted to actually settle down, meet someone, start something. It's really difficult to do it when you're living, out of a suitcase back and forth all the time. So my dog liked it better here, so I moved here. Yeah. But my heart is probably still in New York. I'm a New Yorker living in LA. Is basically what's happened.
Wow. Your dog is very lucky to have you to accommodate his desire of living in LA.
Yeah, my dogs are, my dogs are kind of remarkable. Like everybody thinks their dad, their kid, their whatever. But I really do have. I've been very lucky that I've had really smart dogs that really can communicate without speaking. So this is my little version of my big dog. This is Gnocchi. Hey, mama.
Oh my God. How old is Gnocchi?
Yoki turned 11 a couple days ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
thank you. Yeah.
Great. And what do you do for work for living, Ken?
Uh, the two things that I have the most difficulties talking about is how old I am and what I do for a living. But I'm gonna figure a way to answer both because most people have a very linear job, so they could say I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a bus driver. I make stuff for kids predominantly, and that's changing. But I think of myself as a global provider of entertainment for children and their families. So a lot of the work I've done has been for kids 6 and under, both on the screen and on the retailer shelf at the same time, right? So it's just quite complicated to find a way to put that into to 2 word or 3 word answer. You know, um, right now that work is expanding
Mm.
because it's been 30 something years that I've been making big, chubby, round things that live in primary colored worlds and, with no sharp edges. And I'm now at a point where I love telling stories, but I need more of a challenge, So like everything I do now is either if it's for kids, it's cause related. Like we're launching the largest climate education initiative in the world right now. So
Wow.
based on a kids series of mine. So I'm quite excited about that. But really, what's really making me happy these days is I have a project about a black protagonist who lives in the 1930s. He's a mercenary gun for hire that's an expert with katanas, the big Japanese swords and Winchester rifles, and he's a one-man wrecking crew. And I've never been given an opportunity to tell that kind of story before, so I'm very excited about that. I have a horror movie that I wrote that's particularly exciting again because it's mean spirited and I get to purge all that stuff out of me. So I love that. And we're doing a project right now called The Ties That Bind, which is a story about Olivia Newton-John and her sister.
Mhm.
it's just the most fantastic kind of salacious, scandalous, but extraordinary story about the bond of sisterhood,
Uh,
and how these two were there for each other despite being in very, very different places, emotionally, physically, financially, everything else. It's really,
um,
really good story.
okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Ken, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Well, we'll do the best we can. Yeah.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Full of random questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song just for us to relax before the first question. All right?
Okay. Do you feel I'm not relaxed already?
I don't always say that to all my guests, just make sure that they are relaxed.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Let's do it. And before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Yeah, don't worry. I'm an expert at not answering the things I don't want to answer.
Amazing. First question for you is, what do you like the most about your best friends?
Well, I have a thing that I only have one best friend. I have a
Mhm.
lot of close friends, but Enrique Gomez de Molina is my absolute best friend, right? We've been very close for a long time. I love his ability to just let things roll off his back.
Yeah.
He's fun, he's funny, he's extraordinarily talented. He's an artist who does work out of taxidermy, so he creates new species of animals, and he's just I've just never met a mind like his before. He's quite an extraordinary character. So he
Wow.
lives in Miami now, but we lived in New York together. We lived in LA together, back in New York, and then he fell in love and moved to Miami. But I still speak to him every day anyway. You know.
Amazing. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what would your theme song be if you had your own show?
Ah, it's funny because I was offered my own show and said, no, no, I don't want my own TV show. The song that I think about the most is Joan Armatrading did a song, I think it was in 1978, called Love and Affection. And basically, the song is why walk when you can dance? Why talk when you can sing? It's the difference between when you're in love and when you're not. It's a really sweet song about love. I think about it quite regularly. So I think somehow or other that would end up being my theme song.
When you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the biggest joy of being Ken? What do you like the most about being you?
I, without a doubt, it's how much love there is in my life. You know, I have, I'm really blessed by having a family that supports whatever I do. Having friends that know that I beat to my own drum, and they pull out their own instruments and play along with me. I'm very, very lucky to have this much love in my life.
Beautiful. Next question. Let's do it. Ken, before the next question, tell me what's the biggest joy of being a storyteller? What do you like the most about it? And the flip side, what's the most challenging part?
I think the thing that's most exciting is the most challenging. I think they're both the same. It's being able to understand the audience well enough that and to create a trust that with them, where they trust me enough to know that we're going on a journey together, that there's an adventure ahead, and that they're willing to take that adventure with me. Trying to hang this call up. That without a doubt is the best part of being a storyteller. And I have a really active imagination, So the
Mhm.
idea that I'm able to, find an audience, is the exciting part. The hard part is finding a story that is relatable to people, you know.
Mhm.
So it's I think being able to know your audience well enough to go, okay, they're gonna like this, or they don't have patience for this version of the story. So at the end, it's the challenge is knowing the audience. And the beauty, the best part is knowing the audience. So if that makes sense.
Amazing. Okay. Next question is, what's the best advice have you ever received?
That I've ever received.
Yeah.
I had an ex-boyfriend who I have a lot of issues with, right? But I always felt the need to exaggerate my success. And he made a comment to me one day that was just, I don't know why you do that. You're more than enough and you're more than most. And you don't need to, you know, pretend that you're more than that, you know. And I mean, I've had some great advice. I've had some amazing mentors, but for some reason, you asked, and that was the immediate thought that came. But my dad was a prolifically, just incredibly smart guy that would drop a little pearl of wisdom from time to time that just out of nowhere. So I have a whole lot of those that I carry around with me too.
Wow. And growing up, which person in your family you're more close to or more connected with?
Uh, well, I'm very close with my family. My younger brother and I shared a bedroom together for a long time. And so he's just a little more than a year younger than I am. So we're very, very close in age. And we used to dress as twins. And, so we have kind of this mad love for each other, and a little competition with each other and whatnot. But so I'm very close with him. My mom is my best friend. I travel with her. I wouldn't want to have to choose between the two of them.
Wow,
But um, I feel a tremendous sense of love for both of them.
beautiful. Next question. Ready?
Yeah, ready, yeah.
Let's do it. Next one.
You do know that we don't have music on my end. You do know that, right?
You can dance with me, like pretend that you are having the great.
I'll just pretend that I hear music.
Amazing. Next question is, what's your favorite weekend activity?
Hmm. Here's my regular weekend. I may go out for dinner with a buddy of mine on Friday. There's a particular friend that I may have dinner with him. If not, Friday night is definitely at home on my sofa with my puppy. Saturday, it's laundry day, change the sheets day, give my dog a bath, and be on the sofa with my puppy. Right? You'll get a theme in a minute. Sunday during the day, it's me and my puppy on my sofa at watching some old movie. And then Sunday night, I go hang out with my friends at a bar in West Hollywood. We actually go from bar to bar in West Hollywood. So that's my standard weekend if I'm in town. Everyone in my life knows, well, if it's Friday, he's either there or here. I'm very set like that right now.
So far, what's the most meaningful lesson you've learned from your puppy?
What's the best thing I've learned from my dog? Is that what you
Yeah,
asked me?
yeah, the most meaningful lesson or the most meaningful something that you've learned that for you was like, wow.
You know, I take things like commitment and those kinds of things quite seriously, and what I've learned something from Yoki that I learned from kids from the work that I do, right? Is that
Mm.
they live in the same world we do. They just perceive things differently than we do, you know? And we make a mistake of somehow trying to impose adult human values on everything, so on kids, on dogs, cats, whatever it is. So what my dog really shows me is she loves me unconditionally. She trusts me. I can do anything to this dog and she's okay with it, right? And uh, but there's a thing. It's like there's an unspoken trust that she trusts me, and therefore I have to deliver. Do you know what I mean? And I
Uh-huh.
relationship that I have with her is very similar to the relationship that I have with the people in my life that they need me, I'm there for them. Like she's, the other night, I cry a lot, which is a weird thing to confess to someone, but for no reason. Like I'll watch some TV commercial or something. I'm a very kind of empathetic human, and I was crying, and she was in the other room and heard me, and she came running in, jumped up on the sofa, and just started licking my face to just kind of,
Oh,
and just plopped down right here and just stayed there. And you know, there's a lesson in there, that, and she's just, there's no gray area for her. It's just complete and total love, and I think that that's the way I would like to live. You know.
wow. I totally understand. I think our dogs, our pets, they feel our energy like far away. They know what's
Yeah.
happening. Sometimes, even if you're pretending, they can get it and they stay by your side.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what she does. She's just literally here on the ground now. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I had so many interviews with guests on the show, and sometimes they are doing the interview, and suddenly their pets just jump on the table, or they just go to their nap, or they just go to the sofa. So
Yeah.
I think they just feel the energy around for sure.
If, when I'm on the sofa, if the phone rings, if she's not, she's usually there, but if she's not, she'll come running up and just sit there and just kind of be part of the phone call. That's, I think that's why she's down there on the floor right now.
Oh, sweet. Next question. Let's do it. Good. So you can see a great dancer. Before the next question, as you were talking about your family, and I could see how much you love them. But for you, growing up as a gay queer boy, did you have their support? Walk me through a little bit more about your experience, if you can share.
Yeah, let's see how to answer that question. So I didn't come out as a gay person until my mid 20s. I had never met a gay person until I was in my mid 20s.
Mhm.
I had a very unusual childhood, like a very, I had was an auctioneer. I worked in antique shows. Like I had a very, very bizarre childhood, fantastic one. But the only one day, so my aunt had a swimming pool at her house. This is going to answer your question. It just doesn't seem like it's going to. A lot of times it's like a Seinfeld episode, but you will get there by the end, right? So anyway, my aunt had a swimming pool. We when it was super hot, we would go to her house. She didn't live that far away, and we were just sitting by the pool one day, and a friend of my aunt who we had met before came over the house in a speedo, but it was like a micro speedo bathing suit, and there was very little to your imagination. And anyway, we're there, and we'd never seen it. This was a very unusual sight for us. So anyway, he stayed for dinner. We all ended up there for dinner with this guy, and he was telling us stories about his life, right? Not even being braggadocious or anything. It was just like this was what was happening in this moment. And he had just been to Paris, and he had done something else. And I don't remember what it all was. It was a long time ago. It was like 35 years ago or so, something like that. Anyway, my older brother leans over and he whispers to me, he's gay, right? And I had no idea even what that. And so I said to him, if that's gay, I want to be gay too. And that was the just because the guy was just so fantastic, right? He was just so interesting, and he had style, and he could talk. He was sophisticated. He was just a totally interesting guy. But I actually didn't meet my first gay person. I mean, I knew him, but he was, I was whatever I was, 11. Anyway, I didn't meet my first gay person until I was in college, and still I knew that I found men attractive. I just couldn't sort out the difference between being attracted to someone and finding them attractive. You know, and just I don't know if this is answering your question or not, but I went to London on an exchange program for college, right? And the first couple days that we were there were only 4 Americans in this school. Then most of them never seen an American before, so it was very exciting for them, very exciting for us. It was all fantastic. And there was a guy that lived across the hall from me. His name was Barry. Okay. And it was clear to me that Barry was gay. By then I'm more sophisticated about gay, right? Still hadn't met gays, but I knew what it was. And I wasn't attracted to him at all. So there's Barry. Then I was in because it was an exchange program and everything else. I was in a drama class, and just because for the credits anyway. So I'm in this class, and there's a guy named Mark, and Mark is dating this girl that's in this class, right? That's all that's really relevant to this. So a few days in, Mark broke up with this girl. Okay. In the meantime, every day I'm having tea with Barry at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. So and at this point, I know him well enough that I just enter, right? He's just across the hall. So I just go in his room. Anyway, this time I go in his room and he and Mark are having sex with each other. Okay. And for me, I was as virtuous as the falling snow. I could not get my arms around how could Mark have been dating this woman and now, having sex with this guy? Like it just, none of it registered for me, right? It was, it was my first time seeing gay people having sex and the first time I was asked if I wanted to be in a three-way. So it was a very exciting adventure for me. No, I didn't. But it was all very interesting, and it really helped me to look at this issue of, is there a difference between finding someone attractive and being attracted to them? Okay. And is it just social mores that stop us from that draw that line for us? So that sent me on a journey. Okay. And really that's when I started looking at men in a different way, and understanding that my attraction to them, I was a chubby kid. I've been chubby my whole life until about 15 years ago. And so whenever I saw a guy that had abs, like I would look at you and I would have had trouble sorting out, am I attracted to you or do I find you attractive? Do you know what I mean?
I
And
see.
so that became a journey for me until I started to understand that attraction in a different way.
Wow.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Totally. Okay. Next question for you is tell us something that you have done that you feel very proud of yourself.
I at some point I start wondering if I sound hokey. You know, um, Look, I've had some huge successes in my career. But I never look at them as the meaning of my life. You know, um, my my mom, who I told you is my bosom buddy, she had a very serious operation a number of years ago. And the doctors had warned us she was going to die. It was this whole kind of horrible thing. And we, so I went to, she was in Philadelphia. It's a long story, but she was in Philadelphia and I went down from New York and ended up staying there for 33 days. Okay. And the hospital shared the parking lot with the hotel. So I literally could just roll out in the hospital with her. And so I was there for 33 days. And the doctor said, it's a miracle that she's alive. And, like I say, it's like 20 years ago now, and she's still plugging along. But we made, the movie The Bucket List.
Yes.
What you don't know about the movie The Bucket List is that that movie is truly about me and my mom, right? The writers for the movie and the director for the movie had the same trainer that I had, right? So I went at 7, the writers were with him at 6, and the director was with him at 8. Okay. So I was the one in the middle. So when I would come back from one of these things, my trainer would say, "Tell them what you did. Tell them what you did." So they were taking notes. I didn't know this of my experience with my mom. So
Wow.
I that if I look at my accomplishments, I believe my friend, my family, my relationships, those are they are my prize, right? But this thing with us creating this adventure for my mom, my dad had died, my mom's life could have not had meaning. And we went on this adventure that went on for years where we just had a list and we just went through them all. And then one day my mom says, "You're too young to retire, you're too old to not work, you know, go back and do something meaningful." We've had a lot of fun. And I went, and started finding projects that had the same kind of meaning for me. If I wasn't going to be traveling and doing stuff with my mom, going on safari, and I can't tell you the madness that we did. Um, then I wanted the projects that I do to be meaningful.
Wow. Beautiful. I love the story. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
3 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, next question for you is, good question. If you're not yourself, would you like to be yourself?
If I wasn't me, would I want to be me? No, I can tell you absolutely. I have created me to be exactly what I want me to be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's no one else on earth I would rather be than myself.
Wow. Saying that, Ken, what's the meaning of life for you?
To love and be loved in return.
Wow.
Yeah, I got
Wow.
that one. Yeah.
And do you believe that there are different kinds of love?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't think I believe that. I'm trying to I'm processing it now, the question, but I don't think my immediate response is no. I think love is love, right? You may love shows up in different ways,
Yes.
right? So but I think it's the same. I think love is the same. It's just again, how do you
Express.
express it? How do you share it? How do you, how willing is the other person, or apple pie or whatever it is? You know what I mean? Like how does it interact with you? But I think love's the same. I think it's the same for it, no matter how it shows up.
Absolutely. I think when you feel those butterflies, in your tummy,
Yeah,
when you are kind, that's, the meaning of love. It's funny enough, the other day I had an interview with a lovely man from South Africa, and he said that we were talking about love, and he said that his dad, as soon as he entered the room in his house, his dad was already smiling, and he said,
yeah,
"William, I never realized that for me that was love." And they didn't have a good relationship for different reasons. And he said, "William, doesn't matter." Whatever the situation, I was coming back home, I was going to the room, and straight away he was smiling, and
yeah.
that's the show of love, like very genuinely. I never thought this way, and I loved it, the concept.
That's what I mean. I think in my response to you is that you know you have to you have to be present. Okay, you have to be in the moment to see it, to express it. But when I open my front door, and this is just a bad example possibly, but I open the front door, there's a lot of stairs to get into the house. Gnocchi will be at the top of the stairs and she'll run around in circles this way and then run around in circles that way. And that's love, right?
Yep. Yep.
When I call my mom, we video chat few times a day. And every time she sees it's me, her eyes start sparkling,
Yeah.
and it that's love, you know. I have a friend that every time I see him, he hugs me for like an extra 3 seconds longer than most people hug. That's love for me. So everyone has a different way of expressing it,
Yep.
and I, have learned to receive it, in whatever form it shows up in.
What's your star sign astrology?
I knew literally that was your next question. I would have was gonna bet it. That's funny. I'm a Taurus, and I'm all Taurus, moon, rising, everything Taurus. The only
Oh,
thing, and I always feel the need to say this, is I don't have the stubborn streak that Tauruses have, right? My dad was a Leo, and he definitely had a stubborn streak about him, and I loved him. He was a really good man, really eccentric, really an original, um, and he could be stubborn, and I really it wasn't something I admired, so it wasn't something I wanted to emulate, you know.
beautiful, beautiful. Two questions left. Let's do it.
So I
Hmm?
cannot believe it.
Next question is, what
Yeah.
season what season of the year you feel more connected with and why?
Uh, you know, in LA, we don't have seasons, right? Basically, not anymore with climate change and all this that's going on in the world. We do see some fluctuation. But when I first started coming to LA, it was basically 72 every single day. It was just a perfect sunny day. You know, but I'm a New Englander, right? I fucking love the change of seasons. I have clothes for change of seasons. I love my sweaters, and I love having the ability to wear them. So it's always in LA. I find an excuse to wear a sweater, or I have these really fun Yves Saint Laurent like big snow boot things that I just find excuses to wear them anyway. I think I don't like summer. I don't like the heat. Right. I way prefer cold because you can add more blankets, put a fireplace on, do something. So
Yep.
um, this is also a weird thing, I guess. So it depends whether I'm alone or not alone, I think, you know. Um, there is nothing that I like more than rain beating on a tin roof. In the winter when it's cold out, when I'm at a fireplace snuggling with someone. So if I if I have that as my North Star, then I think winter would have to be my favorite time of year, because if it's 116 degrees, I don't want anybody touching me. I don't want anybody near me. I was, so um, I think a cold winter versus a hot summer.
Very romantic.
In the, in the end of the day, yes, that is my
It's very
downfall.
Taurus. This is very Taurus because Taurus they always thinking into they always they're they desire to be with someone. They always want to share things. It's very
Yeah,
Taurus.
I
My
am.
close friends,
I am a Taurus. I am very, very typically Taurus in that way. Yeah.
my close friends. I have friends that are very close, and they are Taurus. And also, fun enough, my first love was a Taurus, was a girl when I was 12 years old. I fell in
Yeah.
love. I fell in love with two Taurus that I was deeply in love. Nowadays, when I
Yeah.
meet someone and they become good, all of them they became good friends. So when I meet
Yeah.
someone and they say I'm Taurus, I go like we're gonna become friends. We might fall in love, but we're gonna become friends in the end. That's my experience with Taurus. I'm Scorpio, so we have this tendency. Yeah.
Scorpios are horrible. They're horrible. Every Scorpio I've ever met, you're all horrible, and I would never date you. So that's just I love Scorpios. The only thing worse than a Scorpio is a Cuban Scorpio, because then I have no self-control, and inevitably you will sting and leave, and I'll be alone. That's my I know that about Scorpios. All for a window of time, all of my close friends were all Tauruses, all of
Well,
them. But there were like 30 of us that would go celebrate our birthdays together. You know,
yeah.
uh, a lot of them have moved on, and so I don't see them as much. But there is nothing better. I tell you, if you're a single gay man, you want to marry a Jewish Taurus. There's no better combination than a Jewish Taurus, um, love and affection and all of that. I recommend highly dating a Jewish tourist.
Okay, you need to introduce me one of your tourist, Jewish tourist friends to me. Okay?
In London?
Yes, in London.
Wait, so you want me to find you a Jewish tourist living in London?
No, anywhere, anywhere.
Anywhere is okay. All right, I
Anywhere.
can do it.
We
I
can
can do
work it
it.
out. Somehow we can work it out together.
Don't worry, I think I can hook you up.
Ooh, look, it's recording. Okay.
No, no, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Let,
I'll make. I made a mental note. I have a
let's.
lot of I have a lot of friends in London, so I'll
Oops, getting
yeah,
better. Getting better now.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's very possible I could do that.
Last
Yeah.
question. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it. Last one. Before the last question, if you could share like a moment in your career, like as a storyteller, that you're never gonna forget. For some reason, it left a mark that's for you always gonna have a good place in your heart.
Hmm. Wow, it's very difficult because I have had so many moments in my work life, you know. Um, let me set the stage for you, okay? So predominantly what I'm known for work-wise is kids entertainment, okay?
Hmm.
So imagine being an independent children's television producer in a world where you have the Disneys and the DreamWorks and the Warner Brothers and on all around you, right? And you're just there's no light, there's no sunlight. There's just, you're just dealing with all of these things. And to be able to run circles around these multi-billion dollar companies, it is a pretty extraordinary thing. You know, I've been very blessed that I've been able to do this on multiple occasions, that I've had very successful kid shows, that defied the odds, you know. Um, so those are moments. I think the moment the first kids television show I ever sold was a British children's television show called Tots TV. Okay, TOTS TV. It's still to date. No producer would ever tell you this is my favorite, but today it's still probably my most favorite show because it was my first, right?
Okay.
And just to give you a quick little setup, the people that created it were my partners on the Teletubbies, but it was long before there were the Teletubbies. So there was this show. It's a great show. It was, I think, the first bilingual children's television show before Dora the Explorer. It opened the path for Dora to come to TV, and they had tried to sell the show many, many times and couldn't sell it in America. So I said, well, just give it to me. Like, I can't do any worse than you've done, right? And and I did sell it. Okay. And the idea for Anne, right, for my partner, for her to be able to go back to the people who hadn't sold it for all these years, the guy, so when she went in, she said, "Oh, we've sold the show, by the way," you know. But the guy said to her, she didn't tell me this until later, that he said, let Viselman go off and try to sell the show, right? He said, this this video cassette has more coffee stains on it than any other show in history. Like people were just using it as as a whatever. So it was a real delight for me to sell that show. But so just to give you just a little bit more context. So I sell the show. We don't know if it's going to be sold or not, and we're waiting to find out. We're waiting to find out. And the licensing show is happening in New York at the time. Okay. So we don't know. We don't know. We have, this is so weird to tell you, but at that moment in time, we had $128,350 in the bank. Okay. The licensing show cost us $128,000. We had $350 in the bank,
Wow.
and we rolled the dice. that PBS was going to confirm the sale of this series, and they had to do it that night because the licensing show started the next morning, right?
Wow.
So, with the grace of God, they did confirm the sale of the show. And I had very, very long hair at the time, right? Very long hair. And I went to a friend of mine and had him cut all my hair off and went to the show with very short hair, right? But everyone had known me for years and with my crazy, crazy long hair. And so the fact that I cut my hair off became news at the show, and everybody came to the booth to see what did I look like with short hair, and saw the announcement of this show. And the very first deal that we did was, again, this is a weird thing to tell you, was for $660,000. So
Wow.
we immediately, it became a real race for us after that, and that's literally the show that launched my career in the kids entertainment space. So I think that's probably the most fitting story to tell you. But I have a
Wow.
crazy ton of
Wow.
stories. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Last question for you is, what is the worst first date have you ever been on?
Oh wow. So I'll tell you a little something. I'm making a TV show called 100 Dates. Again, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but so each show is based on a date that I've been on. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So just to take this story full circle, I told you that I moved out to LA for my dog, right? So that because I wanted to not be single. I've been single for 14 years. Okay. I'm I'm I go on more dates than anyone you know. People are terrified of me. They have a great date and then they run away. It's not the first date, the second date. So, they run away quite regularly. And I'm kind of like, look, this is our date, right? So nothing's going to change. I'm exactly the same person on a date. And I think that when gay men are confronted with what they want, they're terrified of it. They don't feel they deserve to be loved and or that they're worthy of it, and as a result, when it's presented, they run, so that happens to me quite regularly. So I have many, many, many bad dates, but I'm going to throw a question back to you before I answer your question. Okay, here's my question, and I'm assuming you have a lot of gay men that listen to your podcast or to watch your show, right? So I would like all of them to answer this question, right? Have you ever been on a first date on a second date with someone who didn't kiss you goodnight at the end of your first date? Okay. So you follow me? So do you ever go on a second date with someone who didn't kiss you at the end of your first date? Right? So I've done my own survey about this, and literally not a single gay friend of mine, not one, right, has ever gone on a second date with a guy that didn't kiss him at the end of their first date. I went on five dates with the same guy because it was absolute fascination to me that that would happen. That's not the worst date I've ever been on, but it is something. It's kind of recent, and I'm still surveying gay people. So I'd love to know, have any of your listeners ever gone on a second date with someone that didn't kiss them on the first one? Right. Worst date I ever went on is this. A friend of mine, so my birthday was coming up. Every few years I do this where I say to my friends, please don't buy me anything. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I'm just happy to have you in my life. If you want to do something, fix me up on a blind date. Okay. The thing is, it doesn't have to be a romantic date, right? Just somebody who you think I would find interesting, right?
Yeah.
Set up a blind lunch date for me. So the worst dates I've ever been on, hands down, no questions asked ever, are the blind dates that my friends have fixed me up on. Okay. And I'm going to give you a fast two of them, right? One of them was a guy that was 6'7" and a quarter. Okay. And the quarter becomes very important. I'm going to actually tell you the whole little piece of the story. And he was missing 12 of his teeth. Okay. So he didn't
Right.
have back the back 3 teeth on the top or bottom left or right of his mouth. And I was absolutely fascinated with how could you be missing 12 of your teeth, right? And live in America and be successful and drive a BMW and fancy clothes and still be missing 12. I could not get my arms around that. He was a very, very tall man with a very, very small penis and very, very insecure. So yeah, so that turned out to be a very all wrong in many, many ways. So that was that date. Another friend fixed me up on a date with a guy that showed up 45 minutes late, brought a girlfriend with him. He had super long fingernails that had black stuff under his nails. And the girlfriend kept saying, "Why are we here? When are we leaving? I don't understand. Why are we, the whole thing." He was rude, she was obnoxious. It was absolutely horrible, right? I could not wait to leave. And about 20 minutes after the date, he calls me and he says, "Hey, when are we getting back together again?" You know, and just to give you an example of two of my absolute worst dates ever.
Wow. Wow. My question for you is, are you still friends with those friends who set up on those dates?
Ironically, no. That's that's the truth. I'm not friends with either one of them. One is a very, very strong Trump supporter, and I'm okay with you having different points of view. In this particular
Sure.
one, it's a challenge for me, but it's okay. But I don't want you imposing your view on me. I don't want you to tell me that I'm wrong, you
I
know,
see.
and when I'm not. I don't mind being wrong, but I don't want to be told I'm wrong when I'm not wrong, and so that was a problem. The other one just turned out to be a really ungrateful friend who um, had a real hard time just being vulnerable and real, and I just didn't need that in my life. So no,
I see.
I'm actually I am friends with most of the people I've dated. I'm friends with, I don't usually discard people, but in this case, it's just random that I'm not friends with either one of them.
Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some
Yeah.
words. Some one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start
Okay.
with family,
Mom,
money,
necessary,
fear,
avoid it,
love, loved,
love or loved,
love,
everything,
life,
purposeful.
sex.
What's that? Um,
You know the answer. You know the answer for sure.
no, sex. My answer is cobwebs.
Okay. Religion,
Scary.
friendship,
Wow.
politics,
Scary.
desire,
Love.
regrets,
None.
success,
An illusion.
wish,
Love.
happiness.
I'm gonna say love again, I think. Um, yeah,
Okay.
love.
One word for New York City.
Exciting.
One word for Los Angeles.
But right now it's dreary, but hopeful.
USA. One word.
Um, sad.
And the last one now, storyteller. One word.
Me.
Beautiful. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your mom for a coffee and I'm going to ask her, define Kenn in one positive word and one negative word only. What should say?
So there's a problem with your thesis. Okay. A Jewish mother will never tell you anything bad about her child, right? So, and in this particular case, my mom loves me so unconditionally, right? That
Okay.
she's not able to see anything negative about me. Believe me, there are many things about me that I could see people could be like, "Ugh," right? But my mom, she truly, truly believes in me. She'd tell you that I was creative, unlike anyone she's ever met before. She'd tell you that no one has a greater propensity or capacity to love others than I do. Um, she would, if she were going to tell you something negative, the only thing she would say negative is, I wish she had a boyfriend. I wish she had someone important in his life. That's the closest thing to a negative my mom would say, you know. Um, but my mom sits on the board of my company. She's almost 90, and she's really not like anyone else I've ever met before. You know,
Wow,
did I
sweet.
answer you?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
answered for sure. Let's play now. Ken in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, Ken, you
Okay.
can ask me a question now.
Okay. Why are you single?
Great question, actually. Great question. Actually, I'm not single, actually. I am,
Good.
actually. I'm
Look,
joking.
you didn't ask me to fix you up with a Jewish Taurus if you're already fixed up with someone else.
I'm joking. Why
Yeah.
I'm single? Very good question. Very good question. Um, Actually, I think that because it's simple as that. The right person just didn't show up yet. You know,
Right.
yeah, I just think that because as a Scorpio, I'm very chilled about relationship, about if someone is around, someone comes and gets my attention, we have this genuine connection. Trust me, I would jump on it. However,
Right.
if it doesn't happen this genuine connection, I just enjoy the moment or enjoy a friendship or something that's come out of it. However, I think it just genuinely, I think the person that's meant to be sharing a life with me is not that didn't show up yet for some reason. Maybe we are not in the same level. I think people, maybe I need to catch up, or we need to kind of somehow our paths need to cross. We're not ready for each other yet. I think that would be the answer. So yeah, I think that would be my answer for you. Didn't show up yet.
And I'm going to follow that up with a follow-up question. So, how how long has it been, and how long was the longest relationship that you were in?
The longest I've been, um, 3 years. So 3 years, yeah,
And how long ago was that?
was my first boyfriend.
Okay, that's where I'm asking you. Yes, exactly. So I'm sorry, I know that you're supposed to be interviewing me. However, right, is there a possibility that there's some residual kind of sadness or something, like that you decided to protect yourself so you would never be hurt again? You
That's
know?
what is so interesting saying that, Ken, because that's what my closest friends they tell me. They say, "Go like William. I think that you don't have someone in your life because you are you protect yourself." And
Yeah.
few different people told me that like through the years, and I was like, no, of course not. It's not that. But after, people who knows me very well, they said that. I was like, oh, that could be something maybe that I don't see it. Maybe, I don't know, could be. I don't know. It's
I
just,
I think that one of the biggest problems we have in gay relationships. So I believe that McDonald's and Tinder have ruined the world. Okay, we want it fast, we want it now, and we're always worried that there could be something better, that the next thing could be better. So it makes us not want to commit to something because we don't know if something better is coming down the road, right? I
mm,
don't live in that space
no,
personally. That's not the way I live. I don't that's not my instinct says that's not the way you live either. Okay.
no,
I
yeah.
know I know that when I go out, I date, I make myself available, I put myself out there. I've been hurt 1,000 gazillion times, but I don't want the bad guys to win, so I keep putting myself back out there again. you know? And I think that if there's a piece of advice, and it's weird to get advice from a guy that's been single for almost 15 years, but if you want to, it's about getting rid of those photographs that we have in our head about what our relationship's supposed to look like. Like we know what our life, like you've got your life, and there's just that cutout that the person needs to just fit into, but that's not the way it works. Like if we really stay present and we really are engaging with people just in that moment, right? Then those records, those photographs, they don't play a role. It's like, do I have a genuine connection with the person that I'm interacting with? And I think a lot of us do that wrong. It's like, oh, that guy's too old, that guy's too fat, he's too short, he's too tall, he's too whatever. Instead of trying to just have a genuine connection and
Totally.
see where does that connection take you, right?
Absolutely. I'm totally like that. I'm always being very clear about that. I always being very, you know, I always go for my intuition, for my feelings, you know what I mean? All the people that I connect with romantically, it was so genuine. You know, I could tell so many stories. One of the last guy that I literally fell in love. We literally met in the middle of the sea. Literally, I was swimming. I was literally swimming. I was like swimming, and one point I came up and I saw this head floating like close to me. I was like, "Who is that? Oh my God!" I got so scared, and because he saw me first, so he came swimming, but I didn't see him. So I was literally swimming with no one around me, and suddenly when I came all the way up from the water, I saw this head like floating. I was like, "Oh my God, who is that?" And I started like and he started laughing because he could see my face. I was scared, like I was expecting that. We had this romance and it was such a great, and it's funny when I go back to it. This was in Spain. All the time when I come back to Spain, I go like, am I going to meet my next love in the middle of the
Yeah.
water ocean? It's an interesting story. It's a beautiful story. It's like if I will tell you the whole story, we meant to met that day. Anyway. It's a long story, but it's a beautiful story. We're good friends now. Actually, he's German. He lives in Germany, and we became good friends.
Let me say one more thing to you, right? Sometimes moments like this happen in our lives to remind us what we want in our life and to show us that we're capable of finding it and to not give up. So I think moments like
Tot-
that are for that, they're for that reason, you know?
Totally, totally, and it's lovely because we meant to meet because we became friends, and that's is a beautiful story. Did you enjoy the interview?
Fantastic. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Thanks again. Thanks for taking the time, Ken. It was really lovely talking to you and listen to your experiences and your stories. I could say another hour easily, to listen to those amazing stories. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I think I would just reiterate what I said to you that my goal is to be present, no matter what it is. And my advice is to be present. I'll tell you this one little thing. See if this helps. If this answers what you're looking for right now. My dad, when he would describe me to people, he would say, "I'm the luckiest person in the world." Okay, and then he would clarify. He goes, "Being the luckiest person in the world isn't just showing up at the right time and the right place. It's showing up at the right time in the right place and know what and knowing, sorry, and knowing what to do when you're there." Right? And so he used to say that to me, and I all the time he would. That's how he would describe me to everyone, and I really take that to heart. That I do show up at the right time in the right place, and that I always have a plan. Like I'm that guy, and I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? So
Totally
I think be present and have a plan. Like that should be the intention.
beautiful. Thanks again. It was a pleasure connect with you. It was a pleasure have you on the show, and keep in touch. Okay, we are connected
Good.
now, and I'm waiting for the dates that we talked
Well,
about.
don't worry. I'm very aware. We'll see what I can do. I'm gonna shoot for London specifically because it would just be right. So
Thanks
don't be
again.
surprised. Don't be surprised if it happens. Okay.
Take care, okay? Enjoy your day and keep that. And have Thanksgiving. Enjoy your day tomorrow, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care.
See you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.